have a hexagonal thinking activity and clusters of ideas. These ideas were taken from a variety of articles that talked about Allbirds versus Birkenstocks and the trend of kind of sustainable, sensible footwear. My kids are working on a project right now for an eventual podcast that has them defining an abstract idea. So this hexagonal thinking activity can help them as they gather evidence from all of their sources to figure out how that evidence all fits together and to help them determine subtopics that they need to talk about within their podcast. And this can go for anything, including research papers or analysis papers. It really is a versatile activity. So the clusters here, this cluster in particular is starting out with the idea that Allbirds didn't represent what the article called proud unstylishness. And then we're joining that to the idea that sensible footwear is kind of coming into style more prevalently in our society. And this is, interestingly enough, joined to an article that talked about luxury and the idea of the changing definition of luxury. It used to be how people would show off and flaunt their wealth, right? They would want to wear all the best fashions and just pile on the diamonds. And this article was talking about that. And we still see that to some extent, I guess, in our society today, but the idea that these new sustainable fashions are really luxury fashions and they are representing a change in the definition of luxury. In our society today, an article said that it is about reducing friction with the world. And so I think that that can apply to the brand Allbirds and help us to understand it in a bit of a different way. It's not just a fashion trend for Silicon execs. It really is a style that allows people to, I guess, show, but not in a flaunting sort of way, the fact that they are well off and well off enough to consider their own leisure. And another article, this is the end of this train of thought, the softer, sneakier affluence in our society. Then we come down here, and this group of ideas is related to the fact that these brands, a lot of them are branding themselves as sustainable, and they're made from nature, and we want to be the closest to nature that we can, right? So this source said that they're pretty basic. When you put them on your feet, it's almost like you are wearing nothing. They are like slippers made of clouds, the world's most comfortable shoe. So we could join this to the idea of luxury and the softer, sneakier affluence, most definitely. But this represents a new idea that we would want to talk through. If we were turning this into a podcast about how the connection to nature means something and can add to our definition. Up here, we have these ideas joined together, and I grouped these together because they all kind of related to the fact that despite the connection to nature, there really is this technical precision behind them. The source called it an algorithm on my feet. So there's a lot of thought that goes into making a brand appear effortless and connected to nature. But is this really what's going on behind the scenes, this idea of efficiency and technological perfection and money that drives everything? Here, this cluster of ideas is, this is a quote from the founder of Allbirds about why it exists. and the idea that they were trying to get back to the basics and to simplify. And what does this say about our society that Allbirds has gone so big and they're so popular? Is it that we prefer not to have to think too hard? And we don't have to make a lot of choices, right? When we go to buy these shoes, the cost is the same for every pair. The only choice that we have to make is the color and the style, and even the styles are very limited. And it's kind of like a daily uniform, so we can figure out what that means, right? The fact that we prefer to simplify in our life, and is this as a result of our busyness in other areas, or why is this important? And finally, the last cluster of ideas is having to do with the popularity of the brand, and the fact that software developers are wearing them, and even people who are not athletic are wearing them, and they kind of help to blur the lines between athletic and what isn't. And because it's everyone's shoe, we're seeing everybody wear it, from celebrities to kooky aunts and trendy teens and dads and kids. And what does that mean, the fact that this really is the every person's shoe?